Love to see the police overtime bill at the moment.
It'd be huge. The former clubhouse of the Hells Angels went up in smoke in the early hours of Tuesday morning. The gang hasn't used the warehouse as its clubhouse since last year, but they were still using it to store some stuff.
This town deserves a better class of criminals.
So the cops are assuming the fire was OMCG related, which detectives really don't need at the moment because they're still mopping up exactly what happened up in Nangara last week. They've just charged rebel associate and BLT enthusiast Joshua Duperouzel with the murder of Joe Fazio. And they've also got another Joshua, rebel sergeant-at-arms Joshua Benjamin John Finch, in custody. Police reckon Josh Finch dumped a duffel bag full of guns somewhere in Gwelup and did this after fleeing from an unmarked police car. The question is, were any of the guns ditched by Josh F used by Josh D to kill Joe V? It sounds like that's where the cops are going with this investigation.
Prosecutors are a bit busier than the cops at the moment.
Thanks also to this guy. Troy Mercanti's lawyer Paul Holmes is defending his star client over allegations he breached a post-sentence supervision order 70 times after he last got out of jail. The order banned him from associating with bikies, and the cops thought they had him cold when they discovered he was in New South Wales attending the funeral of a Mongol bikie nicknamed Santa. I won't waste time reminding everyone that it was the WA police that failed to oppose the change to Mercanti's bail conditions that allowed him to leave the state to go to that funeral.
Oh, crap.
Or that it was WA police that gave him special permission to travel despite WA's hard border being in full effect.
Oh, crap.
But I just did.
Oh, crap.
Holmes was originally going to argue that a state-issued post-sentence supervision order didn't apply in other states. He's now going to argue that the order wasn't valid in the first place, which means Troy broke no law when he went to that funeral.
It's too hot today.
Big turnout at Pinaroo yesterday.
One thing about personalities is they come from a diverse background: business, sport, gangland, fashion, and they were all there for the funeral of boxing trainer Joe Fazio, Ray Fazio's father. If you can imagine Goodfellas and Raging Bull combined, that's what Pinaroo looked like. Seriously, I was waiting for Joe Pesci to walk in.
I'm sure gangsters, politicians and businessmen will go to your funeral.
To piss on my grave, not to pay homage to a respected member of society, as was the case with Joe. Former Premier Brian Burke was there with his wife Sue. Brian was Joe's local member of parliament in the 1970s and helped him set up his Balga gym. We had union heavies. Kevin Reynolds was there, and that's Mick Buchan from the CFMEU. The business establishment was represented. Malcolm Day attended. He founded adultshop.com and is transitioning the business into the only sector grubbier than pornography, that's small cap mining. Spud King Tony Galati was wearing his best singlet under his shirt. Car dealer Dennis McInerney, Luke Wiley, restaurateur Ian Love, race car legend Jeff Kendrick, the Silvestro family from building company Home Group. Former Mayor of Stirling Tony Villalonga and former City of Perth councillor James Limnius were there. There were executives from the Parent Institute, because Ray's doing some work with people who have Parkinson's. Eddie Withnell from the Coffin Cheaters paid his respects. Didn't see that one coming, given the great unpleasantness between Ray and the Cheaters outside Fantastico restaurant in Subi all those years ago.
Talk about a diverse crowd.
Hundreds of people from all across the social divide, which is testament to the man that Joe was and the fact that he packed a pretty big punch.
Feels like the RBA is trying to knock us all out.
It was a smaller rise than we thought. We expected 0.5 percentage points. It was 0.25, but that's the sixth hike. Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe has warned that getting inflation back to between 2 and 3% is tricky. He said, "The path to achieving this balance is a narrow one and it is clouded in uncertainty." The RBA is under pressure to justify its decisions because some people think it's lost touch with everyday Australia, which is clearly not the case.
The boardroom of the Reserve Bank of Australia is in keeping with the dignity of the institution.
The worry now is we're coming up against a terrible situation that we last saw in 1989.
When the children cry.
Even more terrible than White Lion. 1989 was the last time the RBA raised rates this aggressively to tame out of control inflation. Nothing happened, until something did.
Surely these national account figures show that Australia is on the brink of a recession.
Oh, no, not at all, Paul. Not at all. In fact, this is a beautiful set of numbers for us.
Not so pretty, actually. The economy shat itself as suddenly as someone who'd just eaten a room temperature Dagwood dog. and we were plunged into the recession we had to have. Let's see if brickies are charging $3 a maxi when the unemployment rate is up here.
Great. So we're all going to lose our jobs.
Well, if we do, we can all join the gang crime squad. That's a growth industry.
Major crimes. She.
I'm Ben Harvey. For more Up Late, click the subscribe button below.